Welcome to the Representation Station. I'm your host, Walter Clapp. Today is Monday, May 4th. It's 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the show where we discuss everything through the lens of representation. You can check out what we're doing at the No Cap Fund. Starting soon, Project No Cap, an official arm of the No Cap Fund. Thanks to our board member, Matt Beat. Project No Cap is making leaps and bounds. We got Chuck Todd. We got Ben Sass. We got big names talking about this, talking about the importance of representation. It is incredible to see the outpouring, and I just couldn't be more excited. Thank all of you for donating. Man, the money is starting to pour in, and that is just an incredible, incredible sensation, right? That to see people believe in the work that we're doing, it really, it almost brings me to tears. It's profoundly important, the work that we're doing. There was a recent Supreme Court case about the gerrymandering that allows political gerrymandering explicitly. Uncapping the House helps address gerrymandering. It's one of its fundamental attributes. Now, some other people will quibble. Say, "Oh no, you need adversarial map drawing, or you need proportional representation." It's like, okay, yeah, like maybe there are other things that the uncapped House should do, but uncapping the House will fundamentally change the gerrymandering debate, the drawing of lines. We'll be talking about all new maps in a set year. And regardless of how they're drawn, each individual will have vastly more power to speak their voice, but in turn be educated. And tonight's show is dedicated to education. Education is something that is lacking in America specifically, but throughout the modern age. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, y'all be getting dumber. You're reading less. And a lot of people blame all the technology. And there does seem to be a correlation. We can't ever say causation, though. There's obviously no studies about this. And I posit one reason is bad representation. Bad representation means you're being educated through media streams instead of representation. Your representatives were the primary educators up until the early 1900s. Representatives were fundamentally responsible for providing newsworthy information to news outlet, news organizations, and that changed after World War I and then intensified after World War II. You pair that with the invention of radio and the TV, and you see a direct correlation between media literacy or media proliferation and a rise in the absolute power of the executive branch and that executive branch power over that same media landscape. Now, enter social media. The technology landscape has changed. Traditional legacy media is hemorrhaging power to these new institutions, the places where I'm reaching you now. But what has that change meant for America? Well, it means we don't know who to trust, and we're learning that we shouldn't have trusted some of the people that we did. It's a vicious cycle. And so we have to return and ask ourselves, where should we get our information? In the age of AI, who should educate us? Is it the public school system that we should trust? Dear Gen Z, dear Gen Alpha? What do you think? It's a hard question. Maybe it's books. Well, which books do you pick to read? There's millions of them. Are you going to trust AI to tell you which books to read? Some influencer, right? That's what I'm trying to do right here, right? I'm trying to influence you. Huh? Are you feeling influenced? Maybe. Some of you are. But fundamentally, this is about education. Representation, in a lot of ways, is a proxy for education, right? For agent authority. As an attorney, this is what I do, right? I act as an agent for people. They educate me about their problems. I educate them about potential legal solutions to their problems. And then often I will take action on their behalf. This is very, very, very similar to what an elected representative should do. An elected representative should learn from their constituents and then educate their constituents about the potential plans of action. And then their elected representative should take action and then educate their constituents about what happened. What's going on? What are the other representatives saying? We're not getting that. We're getting canned talking points, party line BS coming through the offices of these representatives. You're not getting a real education from them. My representative isn't educating me. And I know she could. Harriet Hageman is a very smart woman. She's an attorney, she's a litigator, and she could be focused on the big issues. She could be educating us about what's going on with Epstein. She could be educating us about what's going on with Iran, but she's not. She's focused on the political talking points. Why? Because she has to get reelected by 550,000 people. She's now running for Senate. The field is not crowded. She is practically a shoo-in at this point. Harriet, why aren't you educating? Why are you placating the president? Your job is to check and balance the president. Every congressman and woman who toes a party line is not your representative. They are representing a party. It means they're not educating you about what actually needs to be educated. The fundamental issue before us is an issue of education. A lot of the elite look at the masses and they say, oh my goodness, we can never let the people decide. They're too dumb. That's literally what some elites think. These are the monarchists who want Donald Trump to be king. The Heritage Foundation snafu was all about this. What's funny is, if you saw the picture of President Trump with King Charles standing next to each other, and they tweeted this, two kings. The funny thing is, the modern day president of the United States is far more powerful than the King of England today. 100%. It is an undoubt. It is kind of unimaginable, right? That we would have a Congress that is subservient to a king that is more powerful than the King of England. The whole origin story of this country is fighting against such unified power. Why? Because it allows corruption. It allows the Treasury Secretary to profit off of inside information. It allows corporate cronyism. It allows a level of corruption that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden helped reveal to the world, right? It is global power revealed in a singular figure. And our founders anticipated this. And the check is the power of the purse in the hands of the Congress. If the executive is acting unwieldy, unruly, unethically, they have two powers. They can impeach or they can say, no more money for you, Mr. President. And I tell you what, there is one of those that I assure you, Mr. President would respond to. Why isn't it happening? Because our Congress is not dedicated to the mission of education. They are dedicated to the mission of the party and of the president. As a result, none of us know what to think or what to believe. We're left to wade through the Epstein files on our own. It's madness. It's maddening. Got a question from Illusion. Hey, Walter, have you been able to speak with Charles Hoskinson? Not live, in person. Would love to. I'm sure that will happen soon enough. And yeah, I look forward to the conversation when it happens. I think that he is perfectly situated to see this project, No Cap, really make waves. And I think there are several hooks into his projects. I look forward to that conversation when the day comes. And thanks for pointing it out. And yes, he does follow me here on X. So Charles, if you're listening, would love to have that conversation. Would love to grab some food, a beer, a afternoon. You go ride some horses. You let me know. We'll make it happen. Elysian, thanks for being here. It's always great to see you and have guests participate. And and this is the whole idea, right? And I mean, what's ironic about Trump, right, is that in a lot of ways, I think Trump was originally elected as an antidote to these kind of the perception of like these canned politicians, right, who were scripted, right? It came to a point in politics where it's like, man, these guys, they're scripted. You could just tell that it's all fake and BS. I lost my train of thought because Illusion has asked another question. Well, he's made a point. The host has a very throw them all out attitude towards the current Congress. I believe he would be system reform minded. Yes. I mean, I totally agree that Charles, he's a systems thinker. Well, there's no doubt about that. And so is, Musk. And that's why I think that Musk also, this is something that he has to contend with, right? I think Musk and Hoskinson, as this movement gains popularity and they can't avoid talking about it, they're going to have to publicly comment on it. And so, yeah, that will be obviously very interesting to see, where they come and where they land on it. And maybe they'll say no, but it's a hard thing to say no to. The only people that I've heard say no to it are basically the people who are presently wielding the power in the Senate or the House, who basically are like, I'm selfish, no thanks. Which is, the system has rewarded that. Okay, so back to Trump. People elected him in part because it was a reaction to these canned politicians. And the funny thing is, now, it's like Trump is a good reality TV star, but there's still a script that he's clearly following. There's still certain things that you want to talk about, right? Epstein, he says, I just want to leave that alone. Aren't y'all ready to move on, right? And, respectfully, Mr. President, no, I don't think the people are ready to move on from Epstein. I certainly am not. You can count on the fact that I'm going nowhere and I'm going to continue to demand answers. And as a civil litigator, I'm going to use every tool in the toolbox that I can find over the next, 3 decades of my life to ensure that everything about what happened there is known, is known to the public, that the people can be educated about that topic. Dark as it is, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and so some of the darkness must be brought to light so that you can contrast it, right, with what is possible. Yes, and Jamal, thanks for the comment. Yeah, Yuval Levin was promoting uncapping the house on in a recent video. Yeah, the message really is getting out there, and I forget he was on. Let's see, I'm sure I can find this. I wonder if I can pin. Yeah, maybe I can send this over. Just give me 1 second. Hang in there with me, everybody. It's been busy, so it's harder to find things when things are busy, and the search function on X happens to be not amazing. Where are you? Oh yeah, I definitely posted this. Oh yeah. Okay, firing line with Margaret Hoover. That's where he was. And let me see if I can send this to the computer. Okay, yes. Yes. Okay, here we go. Bingo. All right, so now let's see if we can share the screen. Tab. Yep. Okay. Bingo. All right. I think y'all should be able to see that, and I should be like a little picture over to the side. I don't think the audio is going to work on this.
Question at the end of the Constitutional Convention.
But
what's crucially important for representatives is the
this?
question of time. You've got to take time not to make impetuous decisions. So would we be better off if there were more representatives today? Not if there weren't more bargaining and slow consideration of competing points of view. And that
I think we should just grow. So I think we should just grow it by 150 members. That's not crazy. The House would still be smaller than the House of Commons in Britain. It would be smaller than many European legislatures, a little larger than others. It's a perfectly plausible, imaginable size. And then grow slowly by that same formula every 10 years so that it has some chance to keep up with the growth of the country. Members are still representing a somewhat more manageable constituency size. And I think the moment of growing by 150 all at once, of introducing that many members into the institution, would be an opening for reforms of other sorts. You have 150 new members coming in, you're going to rethink the budget process. You're going to rethink the committee system. You're going to think again about how House rules should work. And we need that shot in the arm. There are a lot of changes that are needed now that in the normal order of things would be made in Congress. But we've gone through 50 years with rules made in the 1970s, especially the budget process, and members have lost the sense that they could even change these things.
Bingo. What a great piece. We've had Yuval on the show here, and he is just an absolute intellectual powerhouse. I want to show you, let's see. Y'all should check out the new website. It's been under redesign. Yeah. So this is cool. There's a great video from Matt Beat on the website. Everyone should go check out. It's not that long.
No! How about this? Do you know how many members?
Matt Beat's a board member, great educator, speaking of education, and definitely worth looking at nocapfund.org or y435.org. You know, I think you've all hit on this point that's important. You know, we have listed here, we're a single issue organization. This is our 501c4, the No Cap Fund, leader of Project No Cap. And, you know, we're single issue, but we're also every issue, right? And I think you can't lose sight of this. There is not a political issue that uncapping the House would not touch. You know, war, taxes, I don't know. What doesn't that touch? Everything. Well, gerrymandering, electoral college. You know, if you want to get to the question of a constitutional amendment, right? You want to talk about constitutional amendments? Who does that require? Congress. Even if you call an Article 5 convention of the states, who does the calling of the convention? Congress. Everything comes back to Congress. That's why it was Article 1 in the Constitution, right? The Constitution is a fundamentally beautiful document structured in a way to divide power, to have a strong unitary executive that is counterbalanced with a disparate, fractious legislature, right? And that legislature is divided between a good old boys club. It's got the Senate, less than 150 members, which is Dunbar's number, right? It's meant to be a good old boys club, will be a good old boys club, will forever be a good old boys club. And the House was never meant to be that. The House is and will forever be a fractious body because it's over 150, right? Humans can only know and be friends with 150 people. That's Dunbar's number. So adding 150 people, right? What Yuval says, add 150 people, right? Uncap the House, add 150 people, and then continue to grow it slowly and consistently. I couldn't agree more. He's right. Adding 150 people would fundamentally change the makeup of Congress. Now, my one gripe with that is Wyoming might not get two. So really, I'm in favor of adding enough so that Wyoming gets at least another member, because I really want my neighbors to like me. I know that's kind of selfish, but and I think with AI, I think the argument for many more members for the purpose of education, is that argument continues to strengthen, right? As people just are kind of disillusioned and not even sure what to believe. As facts become more intangible, the educators are more and more important. The other thing that Yuval points to, which I think again is just spot on, is hello, the bastards that we threw out have better representation in their lower house than we do today. Not only do they have better representation, they have 7 times better representation in their House of Commons. They have approximately 100,000 members for every member of the House of Commons. We have over 700,000 constituents for every member in the House. Well, it's just a numbers issue, right? Like, imagine being in a classroom, think to high school, right? You had probably had like 20, 30, maybe 40 kids. Imagine if every class had 400 kids, or 4,000, or 40,000, or 400,000, right? Education becomes much more difficult as you change that ratio. There is no doubt in my mind that if we uncap the House, the primary benefit is a more educated populace. A more educated populace comes with many other benefits. More civic engagement, but also a populace that cannot be swayed by propaganda from Russia or China or Iran or its own government. Now look, I have great love for my country, great respect for my country, great respect for the current and former leaders of our country. They only get away with what we let them get away with. The fundamental responsibility of self-government comes here to you and me. Illusion commented that, I have a throw them all out attitude. I actually don't think that's it. I don't want to throw them out. There is no them. It's the structure. I want to reform the structure so that they and us are incentivized to better conduct, right? It's not about throwing the bastards out. It's about designing a system where bastards are made slightly better men. I mean, to all the Christians out there, that's not only the objective of the Christian religion, but every religion, right? To make its followers better. Well, that was also the design of our government, designed by men who believed. They believe that we live in a broken world. And as a result of living in that broken world, we need systems of checks and balances, divisions of power. Why? Because as you centralize power, it corrupts them. That's why the USSR fell. They had no division of power. It is why ultimately China will not outcompete the United States. That is, if we compete on the grounds upon which we excel, which is bottom up sourcing of ideas and the cycle of education that is endemic to representation. Now, especially with AI, again, I come back to this time and again. AI demands an uncap such that every citizen has access to, I think, free AI where they are not the product, but the AI is a service provided by their constitutionally guaranteed representative in the U.S. House. Every U.S. House member should have an AI model that is trained on the Library of Congress, and then they tweak the weights and measures as they see fit. And that model goes out to free to every American citizen. But their constituents have the ability to provide feedback, to educate the model, to basically have a more thorough relationship with the model so that the representative can, again, go and tweak the weights and measures. And each of those models obviously should talk to each other and can and should update the knowledge, the truth. What are their constituents seeing on the ground? What have they found to be true about, say, the operations of FEMA after the last disaster? How are the roads and bridges doing in Des Moines? How about Olathe? Well, without sending a, federal representative at the great expense of the taxpayer from the executive vast bureaucracy, how would you ever know? You think a congressman's going to send a staffer out to look at the bridge? No, but a constituent sure as heck could take a picture of it and upload it to an AI model and ensure that that highly relevant, highly actionable information is provided to the decision maker, which is the congressman. AI is an incredible tool for representation. It's one of, I think, its principal use cases, right? Organizing vast amounts of information, sourcing it, sorting through it. Now, it could be abused. So you need humans there to double check things, especially when constituents are saying, hey, my information is not getting through. Did you get this message? Blah, blah, blah. Of course, we're not going to rely just on AI. But clearly, there are use cases for these incredible tools to find their way into the hands of the relationship between constituent and representative. Uncap the House, and we will have a better educated populace. Uncap the House, and we will have a better educated populace. Who doesn't want that? China, Iran, Russia. But I guarantee you that Europe wants a more educated America. And I guarantee you that Americans want a better educated America. So if somebody tells you they don't want to uncap the House, be determined that they want you stupid. Be determined that they are either ignorant or intentionally obfuscating the truth. Why? Because they hold the power here or abroad. And they want us weak. They want us weak and stupid and distracted. So you get to decide. Share this message. Share the website. www.y435.org. Join this movement. I think last week we onboarded half a dozen new volunteers across the 50 states. Jeff, the president at the No Cap Fund, is hard at work, and your dollars are being put to good use. We're going to be having an annual meeting of the members. It's going to be in near DC, I think in Virginia, in August. believe it's August 22nd. And I'm just going to confirm this in my calendars so that I don't misspeak. Okay, indeed. August 22nd. Place TBD, but in the District, Maryland, Virginia area. Part of what we need to know is, would you like to show up? Because if you want to show up, then we need space for you. So if you've made it this far, please let us know. Drop a comment, send a DM. Best path to get your response logged is go to the website. There it is. Sign up to volunteer and be on the lookout for more details about the annual meeting. Shoot an email to somebody on the team, and we will ensure that we have a spot for you. Becoming a member of the No Cap Fund it's $100 a year, right? So that's a cup of coffee a week, and that gets you access to the meeting. If you just want to show up to the meeting and you're not a member, that's fine. You can become a member at the door. There is no more important issue than uncapping the House. It's not Trump. It's not Iran. It's not Ukraine. All those issues are symptoms. The problems therein are symptoms. And the reason that you can't know exactly what's going on, the reason you can't have good information, because all that information is in the hands of the executive branch, and only very limited information is in the hands of a very limited number of legislative branch officials. That changes with uncapping the House. The information and education landscape fundamentally changes if you uncap the House. This is nonpartisan. This is single issue, but it's also everything. This is the first reform that you need if you want an America that you learn about in grade school. Many people are upset and disillusioned, and resulting facts, evidence, political violence. We stand against political violence. The answer is representation. Slowly, steadfastly demanded, day in and day out, of your friends, of your family, of your representatives. At the next town hall, at the next debate, if you find yourself there, ask the question. Congressman, do you know why we have 435 representatives? And can you please justify for the audience why that number should continue? Their answer will reveal everything you need to know about them, about whether or not you're going to vote for or against them. And when discussions at Thanksgiving or Christmas or your next family gathering take a turn south into Trump hate or Democrat hate or hating them, they, remember to bring them back to this question. Okay, but do you know why we have 435 representatives? Because it seems like that might be the root cause of the symptom that you're describing. If there's a lobby that has too much power in Washington, that is a direct result of the numbers, of the fact that your representative represents 765,000 other people. And so they don't really need your vote. They need the vote of big moneyed interests who can give them millions of dollars so that they can send out millions of mailers and have millions of dollars of TV ads, and they can get Hollywood acting training, right? Speech coaching. The days of the Hollywood actor in DC are over, and the days of the reality TV star are also numbered. Success demands your attention. Success demands your education. Before we uncap the house, we need a critical mass of people to educate themselves on this topic sufficiently so that they can educate others. The best way to learn is to teach, so all of you become teachers. I know that you are capable and worthy. Find it in your heart to give people the grace and the love to answer their hate with sense, with logic, with responsibility, with education. And they may not want it the first time or the second. And in fact, they may decide to be angry despite your love. But that's the nature of love. And it will win. It does win. In the end, I know from personal experience, time and time again, I find people filled with hate. And this topic, though they may come to disagree on, say, the number of the uncap, every single human being that I meet that is not a presently elected member of the House or the Senate agrees that this is a good idea. And it doesn't matter if they're on Team Red or Team Blue or Team Independent. They get common sense. They also have a fundamental understanding of representation, what it's like to have your voice heard by people. And speaking of that, thank you so much, Ghost. I see you there. And thank you for all the hard work you did to bring this movement to where it is today. We wouldn't be here were it not for you. So thank you. And I encourage you to re-engage if you want to go reach out on the website. You can hit me up DMs, and Jeff is really the guy coordinating all the volunteers right now, and I'm sure he would love to speak with you and see if you want to get a local chapter set up or anything like that. That goes to everyone else who's here, who's listening. Ultimately, this is a grassroots movement. People who are presently in power are only going to listen if you demand their attention. If you demand that they answer your question at the beginning of every single town hall. And that's coming, right? 2026 is here. The midterms are upon us. 2028 is going to be here in a moment. If there was ever a moment to uncap the House, the 250th anniversary of our country sure seems like a great time to me. And you know what? I was a late bloomer. If we don't get it done this year, 2028 seems pretty fine as well. Okay. I've been blabbing for almost 40 minutes, y'all. I appreciate you sticking it out with me. Roger is still celebrating his lovely daughter's marriage. He's in Portugal on vacation. We've got some guests coming up. We also have summer coming up. You also are going to get to see me rant some more. We'll let you know when we got speakers and guests announced. And, I look forward to hearing you engage with others. And so if any of you want to come on the show and talk about your experience on this topic, right? Talking to your friends, your relatives, colleagues, classmates, whoever it may be, love to have you. So drop me a line, w@y435.org, and we'll set up a day for you to come on here, and you can come for all or part of the show, and would love to just hear your story and for you to educate others about what has worked for you, right? Because ultimately that's what education is about. Learning from your mistakes, learning from others, right? That's what we're here to do. It's what I'm here to do. And I look forward to engaging with you all in the weeks, the months, and the years to come. Good night. God bless. And for the love of God, let's uncap the house.